Who's the second best player on the Bucks?
Chris Middleton.
Okay, other than that, who's the third best player on the Bucks?
Eric Bledsoe, probably.
Yeah, that sucks. Okay, so at the end of the day, will the Bucks be knocking on the Eastern Conference door? The only way. So here's what I'll say is that the Bucks. I believe in the Bucks, and I believed in the Bucks last year. I believe in them again this year, but I don't think they're a contender just because they don't have the type of squad that can contend in the playoffs. But if Giannis but takes the step that he's been meaning to take the entire time and be a legitimate MVP candidate and be consistent and not just have a hot 2 months and then fizzle out.
You're talking about LeBron James level.
I'm talking about take over as the hands down best player in the Eastern Conference.
No one can stop you if they wanted to type of takeover, like we saw from LeBron James. Like we saw LeBron James do so many times against the Celtics in the last 3 postseasons.
You're putting LeBron James in my mouth, though. I don't think he's going to be LeBron James.
You're talking about MVP candidate. I'm not saying an exact replica of LeBron James. What I'm saying is that level. LeBron James, okay, Kevin Durant, James Harden, guys like that who once they catch fire,
does he make it into that class?
Look out.
Does he firmly supplant himself in the? I mean, he's not going to be on LeBron James level, but
that class because I think
Kevin Durant, the James Harden, the Russell Westbrook,
the top closers, in the NBA.
Yeah, because right now there is an obvious difference between the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Milwaukee Bucks, and that is the fact that hands down the best player is on the Oklahoma City Thunder. So until Giannis can be in that class where maybe it's a toss-up or maybe he, is in the Eastern Conference and he's right there with Russell Westbrook as being one of the best players in the NBA, legitimately MVP type level, because he's been great. He's been great, but he hasn't been arguably better than everybody else in the league. You know what I mean? There's always been Giannis is there, but I'm still taking LeBron. I'm still taking Westbrook. I'm still taking Kevin Durant. You know what I mean? You can't argue over them. So until he can get to that level and break through, then I still think you view the Bucks as a 4 or 5 seed. And hey, maybe they get home court advantage this year. You never know.
Yeah, which would have changed everything if they had that last season. Yeah. It's against the Celtics. I think from a defensive standpoint, Giannis means so much to this team that's the edge, so to speak, not from a team standpoint, but I just think there's moments where he can lock down on you and prevent you from scoring in the last few minutes of the game, and all of a sudden you lose the game because he's also doing it on the offensive end. I mean, that's how good he is. I mean, that's why I mentioned a guy like LeBron James, because he's able in the same way to affect both ends of the floor, make it hard for teams to drive to the hoop, make you shoot.
Yeah, but
make you beat them he makes teams beat them from the perimeter.
So here's the thing.
That's what makes him so tough on the defensive end. That's what's going to make him so impactful against the Celtics Thursday night.
But LeBron really never developed a 3-point shot. You know what I mean?
No, I'm talking about defending. I'm talking about the fact that he's in the middle. It forces teams to rely on the 3-point shot.
Okay.
And that happened a lot throughout the 7-game series against the Bucks last season between the Celtics.
You know who I think is really the X factor for the Bucks? If they want to really make noise in the Eastern Conference,
defensive end,
just
in general.
End. Who do you think I'm going to say?
I'm thinking one guy because of what happened in Game 3 and 4. I was going to say Thon Maker.
Yep, that's it.
That's who you thinking of?
Thon Maker. I thought he was going to be a stud when he came.
You really like?
I thought that was a steal. I thought that was a steal.
I remember you telling me all about him.
And he's still raw, and I think that they're still developing him. And you know what? Hey, if they've developed Giannis Antetokounmpo, who was raw talent, they maybe can develop Thon Maker too. But so far this year, not too much. But I think that the difference is that it's just consistency, man. It's consistency. If Giannis can be consistent and he can consistently take over a game, and there's not a game like you saw in the playoffs, where he had 5 fouls and put up 15 points. Would LeBron ever do that in the playoff series?
Mm-mm.
Would Kevin Durant ever do that?
Probably not.
Would Russell Westbrook ever do that?
I see your point.
That's what I'm talking about. He needs to be consistent. And I'm not talking about consistency on a 10-game streak and like, great, he's the best player in the league for 10 games. I'm talking about a season of pure dominance. And, hey, I will say this. If there is ever a season for him to do so, it's this season. Because this is the season that he's been building and building and building. And if he actually, in my opinion, if he doesn't get to that level this year, or at least borderline that level of like top 2-3 NBA player in the league, then I think this year's a disappointment for him. And I think you're going to look at his career development and say, what's going on? Does he need to leave Milwaukee? Like, for real, like, all the good things that have happened in Milwaukee for him so far, would it have happened sooner if he was in another place?